Saludos y bienvenidos to the PGP podcast. Hey, everybody, Josh Sobat, proud principal of Memorial Pathway Academy in Garland ISD, Garland, USA, ready to rock and roll with you all. Thank you for being here today and on our past shows. Really appreciate you because one of the things that we have in life that is not guaranteed is time. And you're giving us some of your time today to be either live on the podcast or viewing it again on any of our threads, whether it be Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, wherever it might be, X. Thank you very much. We appreciate you. It's very important that you help us out with this endeavor by liking and sharing it. Please make sure that you like and share the show so that the algorithm goes out there and other people just like you can get this content, because we're surrounded with awesome leaders and guests every single last week for 84 weeks consecutively live, not pre-recorded, live 84 weeks. And it is awesome to make sure that we share those thoughts, that we all become better version of ourselves. Remember that the PGP podcast is part of the Fantastic Four network with Coach Sean Hurt every Saturday at 9 o'clock Eastern time, 10 o'clock Eastern time. Then after that, the Doctors with Dr. Houston, Dr. Taylor. And rounding off the Super Saturday trilogy is El Jefe, Principal Cafele. Principal Cafele, I'm sorry. The Commanders beat your Giants. It is what it is, but it was still, we were holding our nose going through that game. It was a stinker of a show, but it's all right. The W went to the W, but it is what it is. So please be part of it. If you want to be part of the show, it doesn't matter where you're at, whether you're in Maine or you're in Florida, whether you're in Alaska or Hawaii or anywhere in the 48 continental United States, we need you. Your lived experience is crucial that you bring this forward, because as we know, there's an exodus in education. There's tons of us, my generation, my cohort, the 30 plus people, we're leaving. We're retiring. Right now, in December, there's going to be another big group of people retiring and saying, goodbye, time to go and meet IHOP or find all the solutions of education at McDonald's for a free coffee. You know how that goes. But you know what? This is a kind of show that brings in that lived experience, just like all the other 83 shows. But today, Dr. Moreno, where are you? I saw you go to Tanzania. Then you were climbing mountains in South Africa. Then you went back to Mari, I don't know where you're at, but I know you're doing good. You're very happy. You love traveling the world and seeing what God has created. So blessings to you and keep on being safe travels. And we'll see you next week for our episode 85, the Christmas gift show. It's just going to be her and I next week. Her and I handing out gifts, and we're going to need you. And I'll explain it at the end of today's show, because it's going to be all interactive with our guests. But you know, the good thing about podcasts and the good thing about this, people always knock social media. I connected with her. This is an awesome leader right now. Philadelphia Eagle fan.
I mean, go Birds.
Wanna see them?
How can you not love the Philadelphia Eagles?
Yeah, coming back to back playing against you. It's coming up. It is what it is. But you know what? Right, with the Birds. But you know what? I am so proud to consider her my friend. I've worked with her. I value her so much that I brought her to our home at Memorial Pathway Academy. She is a consultant in Pennsylvania, and she brings so much to the table to help EB kids. Well, in Texas, we call them EB. I don't know where in your country you call them EL, LEP, ELL. I don't know. I don't know. I'm an EL kid. I don't know what I'm called anymore. But you know what? She brings totally the toolkit for success. I bring to you none other than Andrea Bittner. Andrea, welcome to the show. Thank you for co-hosting today. Tell the audience a little bit of what you do and who you are.
Oh my goodness. Well, I am just thrilled to be here as one of your co-hosts today and to really just share lots of time with some awesome educators coming up. But I am an EL teacher based out of Philadelphia. I'm part of right behind that cohort you were talking about. I'm in year 26 in education. So I'm right behind those 30 plusers getting ready to retire. But yeah, so I get to teach daily and travel the country, helping teachers learn how to work with these amazing EBs, as you call them in Texas, and how to best support them in the classroom. So it is a lot of fun.
And she's an author of 2 books. We've already interviewed her once. And when did I get you? February?
You do.
February. So she'll be part of our February podcast. I don't know. She's episode 92, I think. And in episode 92, she'll be introducing her brand new book, again, on how to support our EB students. So, Andrea, thank you very much for being here. Appreciate you. And this is the Chinchilagua moment. Chinchilagua, Andrea's looking at me like, is that another one of those North Dallas things? No, Chinchilagua is a game played by Mexicans and by Hondureños. What you do is you line up against the wall during this time of fiestas, and you yell, Chinchilagua y arriba, boy. And everyone's laughing. And it becomes a human pyramid of your aunt and your uncle and your cousin. And everyone's jumping on top until it all comes crumbling down. It's all fun and games until it all comes crumbling down. And your little cousin, he has a gash over his head. Your mom is hitting everybody with a belt. You know, that's what happens. Well, the Chinchilagua or thought for today is this. Right now, I have no idea how my algorithm is like saturated with people hitting the wall. I try to avoid all the toxicity, and I'm talking about educators. And you have educators in their car, they're weeping, they're complaining about kids, they're complaining about the administration, they're complaining about, and I've mentioned this like around 10 times on some of the other shows. Look, guys, the best idea I could give you is this. The energy you come up with in July, we start in July, okay? I don't know whenever you start. East Coast, you start in September. That energy needs to be throughout the year because everyone starts strong with those big convocations, 20,000 people, big national speakers, or your site-based convocations. Everyone has the energy, but then you ignore the little things. Oh, it's the start of school year. I don't want to call out this kid. Oh, it's the start of school year. You have to stay consistent. That way, right now, you're not tired and blaming the whole world. If you're consistent with your rules, your procedures, and everything that you do, you won't be hitting the wall. I'm very happy. I'm just letting you know, at our home, we're very consistent. I think we've only had 21 office referrals in the whole semester. 21. Let me repeat that again. 21. And I've got kids, 10-year-old to 21-year-old men. 10-year-olds to 21-year-old men. And we have 21, 22, I might be within that. But still, that's nothing. That's almost like a referral per week for a school of 260, 250 kids. So I'm letting you know that it can be done, but it's consistency. It's consistency to ensure that you support your vision, your idea, whether it be your classroom, your hallway, your PLC, your collaborative team, the whole campus, whatever it is, but you have to stay true and always address any small thing. Yes, 6-7. Why are you letting 6-7 get to you? Fight it. Abuse it. Make fun of the kids making fun of that. Then they'll stop using 6-7. But if you're that angry with 6-7, they're getting your goal. They found your button, and what are they going to keep on doing? Once a kid finds your button, bam, bam, bam. So don't let it happen. Take control and have that energy from the start of the school year. Go all the way until May, until June, whenever your school year finishes. And let me tell you, it can be done. Andrea, what are your thoughts?
You're right. It absolutely can be done. And this is the time of year when I think burnout gets to an all-time high and people are literally counting the days until that holiday vacation happens in the next few weeks. And so everything, amen to what you said. I think it's really important that you are tapping into whatever it is that's helped you sustain your energy every day. And that may mean consistency in your building, taking care of yourself, doing those small things in the morning to get your mindset ready for the day, taking those breaks after school, whatever that looks like for you. This is the time that you want to make sure you're filling your cup.
Very true. And if not, and what part of what she said, I forgot to do out. Thank you, Andrea, for bringing it up. You got to take care of your mind. You got to go walk. You got to do the gym. You got to do something. You can't stay stagnant. You cannot. You got to relieve that stress, that pressure. You got to work it out, guys. Because if you just go home, and you're very tired, you're not going to give your family what they deserve. And a lot of times you give the best to your work kids than sometimes you do to your home kids. So take advantage of that time that you have in the morning or after school or during lunchtime, walking around the cafeteria, doing whatever it is to give your mind that stress-free physical activity that it needs so it could cool down. So now we have our guest today, but this is the Teacher Roundtable number 5, 5. So go back if you want to see some of our other educators, episode 19, 22, 37, and 51. 19, 22, 37, and 51 for other educators who give us their thoughts on education. But without further ado, from all over the United States, educators that are living it, that are in the trenches, that are hearing 6-7 every single last day of their lives. And I don't know how they're surviving, but they're surviving because look at those beautiful, awesome smiles that they have. Welcome, panel. Welcome to the PGP podcast. Andrea Bidner, stick.
All right, guys, and welcome to this podcast. We are super excited to have you here today. And I want to start off with just something telling us about a brief background on the different roles you serve within education, the name of your campus or your school, where you're from, what city, state, and what role are you currently working and serving. So why don't we start off with Kenny?
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. It's great to be on the podcast today. I'm Kenny Davis from Andrews High School. I'm a 9-year educator, retired Army officer. I tell you what, it has been a ball teaching social studies. I'm an AP Human Geography teacher, and I teach world history at the same time. I've taught every discipline in the composite social studies in my 9 years, and I'm not tired yet. I enjoy what I do. I coach football, do some track, and I'm a good dad for my daughter who's a wrestler.
Thank you so much, Kenny. It is awesome to have you here. How about Chris?
Hey, what's happening? My name is Chris Wells. I also work at Andrews High School in El Paso, Texas. I've been in education for 22 years. I started off as a substitute for 10 years because I had my own company called Super Phenom, which I'm still the CEO and hopefully one day make a lot of money doing that. But I've been a English teacher, also a social studies teacher, a PE teacher. I can do it all. Right now at Andrews High School, I am the alternative teacher. I'm dealing with a lot of kids that were just like me growing up, have some issues, but we're going to work through these issues so that they can have an opportunity to maximize their time on Andrews High School campus. My company, I wrote a couple of books myself, but my company, Super Phenom, is a movement about achievement and belief in oneself. And it's also athletics and training system, which will allow every kid to maximize their true athletic potential.
Thank you, Chris. It sounds like phenomenal work you're doing as well. Then we have Clemencia joining us tonight.
Good afternoon, everybody. Yes, I am a middle school teacher in West Harlem, PSMS 161. I teach all core subjects, but this year I am teaching science and ESL. I like to cook, I like to play tennis, and I like to promote filmmakers on my spare time.
Thank you so much, Clemencia, and welcome, Arcella.
Hello. Good evening, everyone. My name is Arcella Ostry. I am currently a Dean of Students in Charlotte, North Carolina at an amazing elementary school, K through 5. I have taught grades K through 5, never knowing that kindergarten would be my first love. My new thing is rolling around the building in roller skates, just high-fiving all the kids and showing love to the teachers and building those relationships.
What a brave soul to be rolling on the roller skates all over school. I bet they love that.
They do.
All right, Josh, you want to take it from here?
There we go. Thank you. All right, guys. So let's peel back that little onion, because you know what? We know that we all know at our schools, we have a lot of alt-cert people coming in. They didn't go through our traditional pathway. And some people are debating whether or not to go into education. So please tell the audience what or who convinced you to become an educator? And question number 2, what or who, how did your parents help you reach this point of your life? How did your parents help you reach this point in your life? Chris.
I could take out from the start. My mother is everything. She was a teenage mother at 17 years old. She was divorced by the time she was 23. She had 3 kids. The reason I stand tall today is because I'll forever be on her shoulders. She always inspired me to be the best person I can be. The best advice she ever gave me was that anytime I have a decision to do right or wrong, just remember, if I can't do it in front of her, don't do it at all. So I always carry my mother in my back pocket, and it allowed me to grow up in low-income situations and still not make some of the distracted decisions that can destroy a young person's life. The real reason I decided to become an educator, to go full-fledged an educator, was because of my wife. I was doing my athleticism training in my company, and I was substituting, and I love this woman. I wanted to marry this woman, so I need to get a very steady job. My company go hand in hand with education, because I believe that educational people, teachers, we're not villains, we're not heroes, but we are good Samaritans to help young people on their road to be successful. So it was kind of a very easy transition to go from the CEO of Super Phenom, which I still am, to become a teacher.
Thank you for sharing your thoughts, especially Mama. Mama's the one right there, right? Kenny, talk to us.
Well, I've got similar story. Single parent household. Mom had 3 kids before she was 18. None of us have ever been in trouble with the law. All of us have multiple advanced degrees. Sister Juris Doctor, brother MBA, and I've got a couple master's degrees. We worked really hard growing up. We had a mom who taught us the value of hard work. She served 30 years working at the phone company and retired. And so we saw that firsthand. For me, coming to education, I've always been a teacher. All right. When we think about where I came from, 20 years in the military, it's all about teaching, serving, learning people, working with people from different backgrounds. And so when I retired from the military, I said, hey, I know what my next step is. I'm going to teach, and I'm going to impact more lives just a little bit younger than what I was working with. And so that's why I'm in education. I love what I do. I'm also a pastor of a church too, so I've got that going too. So I just want to make sure everybody saw that.
And when you see that cat right there on Facebook, you got him preaching. Don't let go. Don't scroll by that Facebook, because he's gonna grab you. He grabs me. He starts preaching away. He's just springing on. He's like bringing the gospel on his day right there. Arcella will soon be in North Carolina, so we could break bread again. Talk to the audience.
Yes. So my who is just, I used to work for an outreach program for Penn State, and just being around a lot of students and just watching them grow in the classrooms, I was inspired to just go into the education field. I started out in child psych, and then I ended up in a classroom. And my mother, single mom of 4 kids, she was always a motivator and just always encouraged me to do everything. So she supported me every step along the way.
Beautiful. Awesome. Love it. Clemencia, por favor, out of the Big Apple, Nueva York. Talk to us.
Hi. Yes, I always liked learning as a kid and also as a teenager. And then when it came down to decide what career to pursue, I thought that teaching would be a good option, because it's a career where you always learn and you're all constantly reading and learning new stuff. So that's how I became a teacher. As a child, I had my parents who always valued education, and they tried to do the best to give us the opportunities for us to stay in school and continue in school. But my teachers, when I was in high school, my teachers always encouraged me, and they always praised me or saw who I was, and then they pushed me to continue in school. So that's how I became an educator.
Perfect. You got to love that love by our parents pushing us, throwing the chancla at us, whatever it took, just to motivate us and inspire us to get to that point. But before I hand it over to Andrea, Constance Sherrard, thank you for being here, part of the Fantastic Four Family Network. Kenyelle Sessions is going to be on the show just in a couple. Our number one coach, our number one cheerleader, Dot McKeever Jeter in the house. London, I don't know who you are. I can't read that your YouTube link. Jefe, you want us on YouTube, but they put these weird names. I don't know how to give him credit. Donna Gant, reached out for you, have you in the PGP out of New Jersey, the Assistant Principal of the Year, Dr. Edwin Garcia. Muchas gracias for being here. Jefe, I know, Jefe. The worst 2 teams were playing against each other. Someone had to win, unless they're Cowboys and they tie. Someone had to win. So just putting it out there. Jefe, thank you for being here. Otis Kitchen out of Florida, thank you for being here. And Kay Bradley, 1978, whoever you are, appreciate you being here. Andrea Stick.
I mean, I'm just so excited and impressed about all this experience that everyone is discussing in the lives that you had prior to education, the people that influenced you. And I want to add to that by asking you to think about your first year of teaching, which I know for me was like a year of crying. So I would love to hear about for you. Let's peel that onion back even more. How are you, A, as a student in high school? And then B, how did you do in your first year as a classroom teacher? So why don't we go ahead and start with Arcella?
Wow. As a student in high school, I was very much to myself. I was always around the teachers and just trying to find out how can I get better at what I was doing, and no matter the class. I remember my data processing teacher just taking me under the wing and just showing me all these things with computers before computers became so big. Then my first year in teaching, whew, fourth grade, my daughter was in my classroom, so that was something amazing. Yeah, so that was really cool. I did a lot of crying. I had a lot of support though from the team, but I did a lot of crying. But I pushed through with the support. Again, I had a great team, which it takes to become a great teacher, and I started that way, and that's how I still am. I have a great team that keeps me going.
Thank you for sharing that. I love that you mentioned your daughter was in your first year of teaching. What an awesome experience that must have been for her. I'd love to hear what she thought about that now as a young adult. But I think that it's so important what you said about the part of being a team and how no one achieves success alone, right? It's all about that team atmosphere, lifting you up in those moments when you're not so sure, or mentors to go to. And I'd love to hear more from Kenny about what your high school experience and first year teaching was like.
Well, my high school experience, as I tell my students, first thing, first day, I was the guy that got C's in high school, smiled all the time, had a good time. Not a bad kid, nothing like that, but football player, track athlete, typical, all of that. But my experience first teaching was a seventh grade Texas history class. And I remember sitting there, first the kids walk in, they don't know you from Adam. They don't know if you've been teaching a million years or it's your first day. And so what I said to myself at that time is I reminded myself I had a younger son was younger at that time. He was in sixth grade at the time. And I said, what would my son Christopher want to see out of his teacher? And so I kept that in mind. I kept it light. I kept it fun. And boy, it was learning by a fire hose, but the military prepared me for that kind of stuff. And so I didn't think it was too bad. I enjoyed it pretty much.
Fantastic. I love that you're referencing like your experiences with the military and experiences in sports, right? And all those other factors that contribute to the school community and your life experience that contribute to your first year in teaching. Let's go to Chris.
My high school days was my glory days. Somebody told me that a long time ago that your high school would be the best time of your life. And I was like, nah, it's got to be better than this. But now that I look back on it, it really was. I really enjoyed myself. My nickname was the crowd pleaser. So I was a social butterfly. I played football. I was the 16th ranked player in the state of Texas, so I had a lot of success in that. But I was twisted when it came to education. I knew that I wanted to go to college because all the movies that I saw, people had a great time in college. So that's what motivated me to want to go to college and play college football. But in my head, I thought if I didn't study and I got a C, that was like me getting an A. So I was very immature, but I was able to graduate and get my degree and do all those great things. My first year of teaching was at Socorro under Mr. Tovar. And it was a terrific experience. I was a co-teacher. Now remember, I substituted almost a decade before I ever got into the classroom. So I was very familiar with how classroom works, how kids work. But I was a co-teacher, something like an assistant coach. All the teachers that I had that I worked with and worked for, they was very good to me. So it was a breeze. And it seemed like every month, Mr. Tovar would give the teachers a potluck. So I really appreciated that.
Thank you for sharing that. I love that nickname, the crowd pleaser, both in high school and it sounds like with the rapport you have with students in the classroom as well. So that is fantastic. How about you, Clemencia?
When I was in high school, I was a very serious girl. I had friends, but not so many. I focused on my work, and I'm an immigrant, so I knew that I had to learn English as much as possible. So that was my experience as a first year teacher. Teaching was a little bit of a challenge because I had a lot of new things to learn. I struggled with classroom management at the beginning, so I knew that I had to study a lot to learn the content that I was teaching and find different strategies to manage the classroom so that learning could happen. Yeah.
I think that's wonderful. And thank you for sharing that you were a student who was learning English, and you must have such connection with students. I'm so proud of you as an EL teacher to have gone through that experience and get to give back now to students today. Also, if you are out there listening to these amazing educators, please be out there liking, sharing, following, letting people know that we are live right now and to join on and hop into the show. Josh.
So right now, let's go into what your point of view is, what your vision is. You answer this question the best that you will. And we'll start off with you, Clemencia. Clemencia, being in the classroom in New York, I mean, you're truly, I mean, a multicultural mecca right there. And so, from two aspects, from 2 points of view, in your opinion, you answer this as best as much as you want. How can educators like yourself in the trenches right now, how can they get, what's the best support for them from their campus administration and from central office? Because they're the ones that support administration and the actual content areas. So what would you expect? What would you want to see in regards to better support from campus administration / central office? Clemencia.
Well, I think that administrators need to listen to the needs of teachers. They need to be in touch to what are the challenges that teachers are facing in the classroom so that they can provide them with professional development support or find support from outside and bring it to the building. But that starts with what is it that teachers need? That's number one. Number two, I would say model, let's say strategies, teaching strategies, give them the time to see other teachers teach or send them to PDs, allow them to leave the building so that they can go to conferences and hear other teachers talk about how they overcome or they have overcome challenges in the classroom, because there are answers. The problem is that sometimes we live in our own little world, our own little bubble, and we don't network enough with other educators. Let me see what's another way. Yeah, I think that would be the main.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And you have any ideas from people at central office, the main hub?
So I belong to a network of educators who are from Central, and they provide professional development sessions to citywide schools or teachers. And the support is there, but the thing is that sometimes the communication is not such very strong, and they provide PDs, but sometimes teachers are not aware that those PDs exist. So I think administrators at Central can do better at connecting with teachers so that they can inform them of what they offer at the central level. I'm a person who is constantly looking for information online, so that's how I get to network with people or find out about PD opportunities, and I take advantage of that.
Thank you. That's so true. I agree with you. Before I hand it over, welcome to Glenn Austri, Tracy James, mi amigo, Dr. Joe Griffin. I was on his podcast like a month ago or 3 weeks ago. Thank you for being here, my man. And out of La Ciudad de Mexico, Román Carmona Guerrero. Te manda saludos, Clemencia. He's saying, hello, Clemencia.
Gracias,
Arcela,
igual.
there you go. Arcela Austri, campus administrators, central office, how can they better support the trenches, especially right now?
As a campus administrator, to support teachers more, my philosophy is just being in the classrooms and collecting data. The same way teachers collect data on students, we should be collecting data on the teachers to see what the teachers need. I believe in real-time coaching to support the teachers. And I believe in asking teachers, what do they need? And if there's a collective group of teachers that need the same thing, making sure that they have those professional development opportunities and in-house or from one another, visiting classrooms and other ways so that they can grow. Use the experience and the expertise that's in the building. From a campus perspective and as a school administrator, just making sure that if the teachers have heavy loads, that we know what's happening in this day and time. They have so much to do. What can I know myself, what can I take off of their plate to help them in the classroom? Not being tedious like bulletin boards and, making sure this is done. If it's something that I can do, my philosophy is being right there beside the teachers and helping them. Copy papers and all those other things. If there's something I can take off their plate, I'm there to support them and do that. And as far as the district, how they can help from central office, getting into the classrooms, come to the buildings. I feel that some of the things that district personnel, they pass down things to the school principals to dish out to the teachers is because it's hearsay or it's their data. I feel that if they would come into the building so that they could see for themselves, and I know in our school district, it's pretty large. We have a north, south, northeast, and a southeast. We have all 4 quadrants because our district is so large. And so all of the things that come down from everyone, it can be the north might not need what the south part of Charlotte needs, or the west might not need what the east needs. So all the data they get, and then they just dish out one thing. This is what I feel. They should just get out into the schools and get the information for themselves, and then talk amongst themselves to see what each area needs to help each area grow, so that we can all be successful.
Thank you for sharing those thoughts. So true, especially the regional aspect of it, because that's also divided by economics a lot of times in many cities.
Absolutely.
So it's very important we keep that in the back of our mind. Kenny, talk to us.
Well, certainly, I would say we've got in the EPISD, El Paso Independent School District, our lead at the district, Dr. Jessie Artieta. She's phenomenal. I mean, she's a listener. She works real hard to be, in the military, we used to call it leadership of presence. And so she makes it a real effort to be down in our schools and send emails checking literally, how are you doing today? Is there anything I can help you with? She stops by the classroom, not just to do the walkthrough. She'll do the walkthrough and then later on see you and communicate. And so certainly leadership of presence is important. And then how can the administrators at the local level certainly help the school teachers? Direction and vision are always very important, but communicating what that looks like in real time. And when the quote unquote bullets are fine, Mr. Tovar did a great job at that when he was at Socorro. He was a leader of presence. And so I really like that about him. And I've been fortunate enough to have leaders like that in my journey in education who have been leaders of presence.
Thank you, brother. I'll be getting you a Venmo for $50 in a little bit. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Chris, let's round it out right there, brother.
Well, I think that when you're in education, you are in the young people business. So anything that we start, we have to figure out how does it affect them in a positive or negative way. The first thing I would say about district or people at central office, they need to give the administration authority to run the schools, the campus, how they need to be run, so we can make it a safe place, a place where kids can come and get a great education, don't worry about silly stuff happening to them. Number 2, I believe that it needs to go all the way down to the elementaries, the junior highs, whatever your district. It has to be a culture thing, and we have to have a single vision. But the number one thing I still believe today is kids will respond to the right type of authority, but you have to bring it to them in the correct way. Last but not least, because I don't want to take too much time, but I don't think we allow school to be fun anymore. Now, I would say this, when I was in school, right, it was really a social event. We know that every 20 years, and I got this from Mr. Tovar, the human brain changes. So it's always a different kid every 20 years, right? And because they're being raised in the cell phone era, they're not as social. But we have taken pep rallies away from them. We have taken all of these things that used to make school fun that when we think about our experience, we love it. But we act like we cannot take away from being in the classroom consistently. And I think that's one of the reasons kids don't want to be at school, because you are missing that social aspect. And I believe the district and the administrators can do a better job of trying to bring that old time high school, junior high feeling back.
Thank you for sharing that. Exactly. It has to be the whole feeder pattern. And some districts don't divide it up that way, but it's crucial that we all have the same conversation, because that 5th grader rising to middle school or or sixth grader writing, they need to know what that culture and climate of that campus is, or the vision for it. That eighth grader rising to that high school, they got to understand what they're going to be walking into and the expectations. And that campus establishes those expectations with love, dedication, focus. And thank you, Chris. And that, we've done at my current campus, we've done 3 book studies on the brain, 3 different books. We all need to understand the teenager's brain, because if we don't, then you know what? We're just going to be that little white dog chasing its tail in a circle. Because if we don't understand it, we're going to keep on fighting that wall that has been fought between educators and kids for years. Stick.
I love everything everyone is saying. I couldn't take notes fast enough. I'm sitting here writing down your great ideas as we're going along, and I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, when you think about kids that, are going to the middle school, going to the high school, or teachers that you could work with in the future, I always say, if you want to know what's in the road ahead, ask the people coming back. And it's so important that you give kids exposure to the people coming back, whether that's alumni or kids or teachers that are ahead of you. So access, right? You guys were talking about access and bursting that bubble and getting out to see other teachers. So many great things. But anyway, so I want to switch gears a little bit now. If you're out there, please like, please follow, please share the show. I want us to start kind of thinking about changes. So what changes have you seen in our profession? And how could a novice educator prevent any issues with some of the trends? And some of you kind of touched on some of these trends already. So let's start off with Clemencia. What have you seen as changes in our profession? And how could a novice educator prevent these issues with these trends?
Changes. So I think a lot of what happened during COVID changed education. In my experience, pre-COVID, we in New York City, we didn't use or have access to technology devices. But during COVID, we needed to use technology to do online teaching. So that was a period where teachers had to learn how to teach online. After COVID, some of the type of teaching that existed during COVID continued. However, little by little, we have been, going back again to traditional teaching. I'm a fan of using technology in the classroom or using technology as an instructional tool because I think that there are benefits. But what I would say is that some teachers don't not have the correct training on how to use tools or technology tools to enhance teaching. So I think that that's what I see, that there isn't enough training in order to support teachers.
Absolutely. Chris.
I think the biggest change that I've seen over the last 10 years is technology taking over the classroom. And in some ways that is good, but these kids, ever since they're 3 years old, they've been dealing with technology. I hate to use the term, but I like to go back to old school. I like them to put pencil to paper because that's one of the ways you learn things, through repetition. So I wish that sometimes we would get off of the computer and do just actual work where they can put some wrist work in there and get, like we say in football, in order for your game to grow, you have to put sweat in the grass. So it's okay not to look at a computer screen. It's okay to read a book. It's okay to turn in manual work. That's the biggest change, that everything is turned on online. And they can really use other things where the work is not really there. So you have to be very, very conscious to make sure that they are doing the work. So if I can change anything, I would kind of pull it back a little bit when it comes to technology. So, because I think they have a better opportunity for the information to stick better, in my opinion.
What do you think that a new educator, somebody in their first year, could do to kind of prevent issues with that trend?
Well, when you're a new educator, and I got this term from Mr. Topaz, when you're a novice, right?
Yeah.
Usually you kind of let the principal and the teachers around you set the tone so that you can learn. I don't even know if you're in the first year of your job, the first 6 months, that you have the equipment with yourself to even try to do something outside the box. Now, if you've been teaching for 8 to 9 years and you know where all the crossroads at, then you can start doing some of those things. But if I was a new educator, what I would do is I would get with the best teacher in the building and give my administrator, and I would learn, because we know the number one way to learn in anything is by observation.
Great points. What do you think, Arcella?
So again, Clemencia and Chris already said it, but it's the technology is one of the greatest changes that has occurred across the education system, and it's not good. Just seeing kids from kindergarten on up with devices in their hands all day. You walk into a classroom to just do walkthroughs, and kindergartners, a small group they have iPads for small group instruction instead of manipulatives and counting and writing versus using those pieces of technology as a resource, which technology is great when it's used the right way. And so I think if the teachers taught the students how to use it as a resource, and then get back to what Chris said, that paper and pencil. I can research dinosaurs all day long, and then the kids can write about the dinosaurs. Their penmanship, everything is being lost by the wayside due to this technology. The teachers are not able to actually put hands on the documents and check it because they're running it through Chat GPT or just doing a checklist. Did my student write this? Did they write that? Is it in the paragraph? Versus seeing how those students structured the paragraph and wrote the paragraph. And as a novice teacher, I would suggest that, I think Chris said that too, you go find that veteran teacher, the teacher who's been in the building the longest, or ask around. I tell my teachers and my students, I don't know anything that you need if you don't ask a question. If you're unsure, go ask a question. So that's one of my things that I say at the school. What do you need from me? You need to ask. Open your mouth, because a closed mouth does not get fed.
I love that. Absolutely love that. And there is a lot of research out there right now that's starting to come back out to talk about the muscle memory that it takes from pencil to paper versus the technology piece and all of the manipulative skills. A lot of you are mentioning that the young, kindergarten, first, second graders don't have coming into kindergarten. There's pencil grip skills and all those skills that they need, to be successful because they haven't been exposed to all that play and things like that because of the technology. So I couldn't agree more. What do you think, Kenny?
Well, as I look at it, I mean, people spend a lot of time with the fundamental five. Some have gone away from it. Some have got to it. I had the unique experience over the last couple of years. They've been bringing me UTEP students to teach them how to teach. So I've been the mentor teacher. And so what I've been driving home is that what's important for the kids in the classroom, they got to read something, they got to read something, write something, watch something. And now we began to walk. These are 4 things that we do every day in a classroom. And so, for example, what that looks like, the Human Geo kids are working on a map exercise. Well, we did the reading, we did the writing, and then we went outside, walked outside the classroom in the middle of our quad, and they started drawing a map. And so kids had an opportunity to read something, write something, they had watched the video, and then they had walked, and they physically did that. And so those 4 areas, I think, would be tremendous for any young teacher learning differentiation like that, that it would shape and make some changes in the classroom, because the kids aren't, as we all have agreed, sitting in front of the computer the whole time. They're so busy, they're so engaged, they're going from here to here to here. And then by the time the class is over, wow, we're done already. Oh, yeah. So I certainly believe that, again, I can't say those enough. Reading something, writing something, watching something, and walking.
I love all the engagement, Josh, that everyone is talking about here. That's so important to continue in these classrooms. What do you want to talk about next?
Love it. Exactly. FSGPT, engage them. Let's all talk together and get that learning going. All right, guys. You know that we have that vacuum like I spoke about. And the best thing about educators is that we like telling the stories. And sometimes we tell them too much. So we're going to start off with you, Arcela. I want you to tell the audience a success story that you've had in education, because you know what? That's our joy. And you're going to look at me like, I've got 10 billion, Tovar. Why are you asking me to pick one? Because I am. That's part of the questions. And I also want you to talk about something you could have handled it differently. We all are human. We're all flawed creatures under his eyes. We all make mistakes. I understand that. But if we talk about it and put it out in this audience, people can say, hey, you know what? I shouldn't be doing this. So I could have learned from Arcela's misfooting, for lack of a better term. So Arcela, one awesome experience that you had in education and one that you're like, I wish I had that. I wish I could have done it again.
So an awesome experience I had in education. I think one of the greatest that I ever had was transitioning from when I was a grade school teacher, transitioning from, I think I came from 3rd grade and went to kindergarten. And as a kindergarten teacher, just getting to know the weight that you carry when you are a kindergarten teacher. It's so much so that I knew, because I had taught the upper grade levels, I knew what the foundation needed. And then I got to have that fun. I think somebody mentioned that earlier, like there's no more fun. I brought the fun to my class. Everybody, even the kids who were the little ankle biters, wanted to be in my class for redirection, just to be in the area. But just to be in that classroom with those students and then those parents, and then having conversations with the parents the kids need, letting them know, how do I get my child to read? How do I get my kid to write and count? And just the success level that I had, I'm not sure it was my last year teaching kindergarten, but it was just phenomenal. I can't even imagine. I can't even express it. It just was so good to just have a relationship with those parents and the students, and to just get them excited about learning at such a young age. So this was 2018, I think I'm probably talking about when I had that kindergarten class, but I'm still in touch with one of the kindergarten parents that he was kindergarten with one of the parents now. She still reaches out to me to ask me, what does he needs something? She reaches out to me. And so just having that opportunity to build those relationships and know that I was impacting a student's life, not just for then, but it's still going on today. And hopefully so many of those other students have that, those tools in their toolkits today to help them to continue to be successful. Something that I would have done differently, transitioning to administration before getting the whole story. Administration is a role that it's a skill. And today I feel that in colleges, it's not being taught the way it needs to be taught. More shadowing, more talking, engaging into more podcasts, and it may not have been as big as it is now, but just reaching out to other people who are already in those roles, instead of just going straight from the classroom to the school, to college, and then going back to school and just getting this role. It takes a whole lot more than that. So because I want to be the best person that I can be for the students, for the teachers. And so making sure, it's critical for me to just make sure that you have all the tools that you need so that you can be successful. I'm on the right track, but I think I'm ready to continue to grow and to get greater by doing things like this. So just taking the steps you need to get to where you need to be is something that I would have done better. And that's what I teach to my teachers and to staff that I coach. Make sure you're doing it the right way and get everything you need before you take that leap.
Thank you for being so honest and straight out to us. You ain't faking the funk, as some guy that we know always says right there, Arcela. Dr. Melissa Jones-Chunu out of Tulsa, Oklahoma. Thank you for being here today. Chris Wells, one awesome experience and one oops, call the play again.
The awesome experience is when I became an alternative teacher. Like I taught government, I taught economics, I taught psychology, like I said, PE and all those good subjects. But being an alternative teacher and you getting these kids that have real issues, underlying issues, which affects their behavior, right? And the great thing about it is I grew up with these kids. So I feel like these kids are my family. Now, the first principal I had when I first started doing this, he wanted me to be like an ogre. He wanted me to be mean. He wanted me to not want them to be in that. Number one, that's not my personality. Number two, I didn't sign up to be a teacher to mistreat young people. So as soon as I realized that that's not how I want to be, I want to talk to kids with love. I want to speak life into kids, and they still have to understand and respect my authority. But I think you can get more out of kids when you let them know that they mean something to you. It's really sad with so many kids that don't even know that they real value. And the real value is they're priceless. They can be imitated, but they cannot be, and they can't be duplicated. There's only one of them. So I think one of the things that I have came to grips with is that that's the place I want to be. I want to be there for the kids that have issues and try to help them get back on the right track. Now, I do disagree with the length of time that they put kids in alternative. We can't have kids out of the classroom for 9 weeks. We can't have kids out of the classroom 6 weeks. It was a behavior situation, but sometimes I think we use it as a punishment. One thing that I could have did better in teaching is just understanding when I first got into it that they are kids. they are kids. The human brain does not get fully developed until you're 26 years old. They're going through stuff, and just because we don't understand it, that doesn't mean that it's not valid. So when I talk to kids, I tell them all the time, I would never I would never poo-poo your feelings. And it's a right for you to have these feelings, but let's walk through and talk through why those feelings might allow you to get in trouble or might not allow you to make a good decision. So I grew from understanding that, once again, even though he looks like he's 25, he's 16 years old.
Facts, exactly. Clemencia, platícanos.
One of the things that I have done in the past years that has worked for me is taking the kids outside the classroom. Let's say museums or university trips or city park trips, so that we can continue the learning outside the classroom. And I have seen how those trips really change the attitude that my students have towards their learning. When we come back to the classroom, as we continue learning outside the classroom, I see that they seem to be happier. They seem to welcome education and learning more. So those are my success stories. Something that I have learned to do something different is connecting with parent engagement. So sometimes whenever I had some students giving me trouble, I would reach out to parents to complain. And I have grown in that area by talking to my students more and kind of connecting with them in different ways, negotiating with them, and finding different alternatives before talking to the parents. Yep.
The communication aspect, exactly. Love it. Preach.
Well, okay, here we go. For me, I'll start with the learning side of that. I came into the field thinking the parents were like me. I mean, I was on my kids' butt, about grades, homework, all of that, the whole 9 yards. And so probably the mistake that I consider I made and have grown from is thinking that every parent cares just like I care about what's going on with their kid. And then when you get those phone calls and you have those phone calls and they're like, well, okay, well, that's your issue. And then they hang up the phone. That blew me away. I didn't understand that. I could not even shape myself to understand that. Why would anybody not care about what their child is going to do educational and down the road? And so that's one thing I definitely had to learn from being a guy coming out of the military world. If somebody, asked somebody to do it, they were going to do it because that's the way things were. But to hear parents just not really care or be engaged in our kids' education, that was a huge learning curve for me for sure. And communication is a big deal with me. And when you don't get that feedback back, that was tough for me because I didn't understand that. I'm like, why would anybody not want to care about what's going on with your kid? On the good news side of things, I think that every school I've been at, when I was at, I didn't get to do it at Socorro, but at Bel-Air High School and then now at Andrews, I've always been the guy that they send the UTEP teachers down to learn from. So I guess there are a few things that I'm doing okay. Teaching the basics. I'm a fan of the fundamental 5. I'm definitely a fan of, teaching people the right way. Classroom management is a big deal with me. And so a young teacher coming in, helping them understand how you control your classroom, being a tough guy, and then you can gradually back off once you get to know everybody. That's worked, and it's worked for time immemorial in the military. You've got to be the tough guy early coming in, and then you can gradually work your way out. Show kids you love them, show kids you care, but tell them the truth. I mean, my favorite thing, hey, you want the truth? You want to lie? And then, of course, I go, oh, coach. And I go, okay, here's the truth. You have to do this, this, and that. And you be honest with kids. Not enough people are honest with these kids. And so I could say that's probably one of my big things. I love to look people dead in the eye and tell them how it is.
Thank you very much for sharing, panel. Appreciate you. Thank you for those thoughts that people will absorb in future shows when they watch this rebroadcast. Andrea.
I couldn't stop thinking about everything that all of you were just sharing. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, whether you're in New York or Texas or North Carolina or Philadelphia or anywhere across the country, these resources are phenomenal and our challenges are not that different, no matter where you go in the country. So I hope if you're out there listening today, you are picking something up and writing it down, because we are all going through the same things pretty much at the same times, throughout the school year in our career. And speaking of challenges, I want to kind of get you thinking right now to our panel about challenges. And we all do it. We all stay up at night. We all wake up in the morning and you've got that idea in your head, or you've got that worry on your mind, and you're driving to school and you're like, how can I solve this? Or who can I call? Or what resource can I use? And that's what I'm kind of wondering now is, what keeps you up at night? What troubles you about our field and the future of education? Because as Josh mentioned in the beginning of this episode, our 30-plussers are getting ready to peace out, and we need backup. We need backup. So what is it that troubles you at night about our field, and what are your thoughts about the future of education? Arcella.
What keeps me up lately at night is the safety and well-being of our students. At our school, we have about 750 students, and about half of those students are taught by our EL teachers. And so with everything that's going on, we had, I think about 2 weeks ago, we had over 20,000 students absent across the district over the course of maybe 4 days. And so it's always just been a concern that students are in the building because that's where they can learn. Whether they have been like in out of school suspension, in school suspension, let's make that minimal. They need to understand that there is a consequence, but the most important thing is for students to be in school. So what keeps me up at night is, how do I keep kids in school? And how do I make sure that they are learning? Which also leads to, how do I make sure the teachers understand how to manage classrooms, how to lead? If you're the leader in the classroom, do you know how to lead in the classroom to make sure you're giving the students consequences, but showing them how to do the right way, modeling for the students? So in turn, I am that person for the teachers, and all of it is to ensure that our students are safe, our students are loved. They want to be, I want our students to want to be in school. And so that's some of the things that I do. What was the second part of your question?
Sure. What are your thoughts on the future of education?
If we don't get serious about our future, no one will have a future, because the students are our future. And so we just have to be serious. And those of us who are actively right now, who are the leaders in the schools, the teachers in the schools, we have to band together. We know what's right, what the kids need. So we have to be the voice for the future. So banding together, making sure we're at school board meetings and wherever else, in Washington, D.C., wherever we need to be, to make sure that the voices of the students, their needs are voiced. We have to be that voice. And so we have to just be out there to make sure that they get what they need. It's all about the kids. Without them, we don't have a future.
I love it. Kenny, what are your thoughts? What keeps you up at night?
The number of kids that are coming to the classroom out of, I've taught anything from freshmen up through seniors, and the number of kids that are coming to high school that are have challenges reading, and that's a big deal. The stuff we saw with COVID, I got it, but there are way too many kids showing up to our various high schools and probably middle schools too that have that challenge of reading. And so to me, that keeps me up at night. Every subject you have to read. I don't care what, every subject you have to be able to read. And so I would like to see more emphasis on, I don't care what the subject is, that there's a, set aside time that the kids are going to read for 20 minutes, 30 minutes. And there's expensive programs like Reading Plus out there that are expensive, but they work. And so getting the administrators and leadership at the top level, instead of adding, I'll sacrifice my $300 raise if you'll give me a Reading Plus program that's going to help the kids get better. I mean, the world's not going to end for me, but I need these kids being better. And so reading is what keeps me up at night. It really does, because I see it every day. And so that's a huge challenge, I think. And that's how the people at the top of the rung, they can better use that money, allocate those resources for better reading programs for our kids to get them to be better readers.
It absolutely is. I mean, reading is the root of all the branches of the tree, right? And so I can relate to that in so many levels. My very first year teaching, I'll just jump in real quick. My very first day, I was given high school kids. They hated school. I didn't know why. It took me about a week to figure out because every single one of them didn't know how to read. And that was my introduction coming off of student teaching, and I'll never forget it. So, with that thought, though, what are your hopes for the future then, Kenny?
My hopes for the future is certainly that, and this is probably kind of big picture, and I'm a former military officer, that the leadership at the state level, whether it's y'all state's version of TEA, would return a lot of the power and the resources back to the principals down there, the Tovars, my friend in North Carolina. Return the resources back to them. They know the best way to use those resources. Get those things back to them, and then let them manage that. Get that stuff back to the districts. If we can start doing a better job of just pushing things back to them, get out of their way and let them do their job, I think that things will be a lot better across the board if you get the resources back to them and let them manage them.
So well said. Clemencia, what troubles you at night?
So I work with a very diverse population. This year I'm teaching science 7th and 8th grade, and my population includes special education students and also English language learners and general education students. So sometimes I feel like I don't have enough time to scaffold for my ELS and my SPED. So what keeps me up at night is, how can I find the resources to make a lesson engaging? So I spend a lot of time in the internet looking for fun activities that I can do with my students. I do like the YouTube short videos sometimes where they explain a concept, and and I include them into my lessons. And I know that the kids respond to them because sometimes those videos show a simulation of like a science content. Like, for example, how does your digestive system works? So stuff like that. Let me see what else. I don't have enough time also to translate the lessons that I teach in English. So sometimes I feel bad because I don't have the time to translate them. But whenever I can, I do it, and I make myself available, in the classroom to work with my students who do not speak English. But they follow along; they are learning, and I can see that, and I'm happy with that. The thing that worries me a little bit is thinking about whether we are working enough to prepare our students for the changes that in our society are happening, like the advent of artificial intelligence. I would like them to take part of this changing world, but I don't think we're doing that. We're doing a very good job with that. But I tell them, like, listen, there are new jobs coming up, but yeah.
Such great points. I mean, I'm wondering too what your thoughts are on the future of education.
Let me see. I would like us as teachers to collaborate more. Meaning, I would love Fridays for us to have those Fridays off, so that instead of teaching the classroom, we could be using that day to work with other teachers and come up with new lessons or new, teaching strategies in collaboration with other educators, not only in our building, but outside the building. And that would be also an opportunity for us to relax and to take care of our mental health as well.
Yeah, sounds like a win-win. It would be a win-win, right, for all involved. How about you, Chris? What are your thoughts?
My biggest concern about education is kids do not identify with being good students anymore. And when you identify with something, like I identify as being a good father, I identify as being a good friend. So I try to execute what those people would do. So when you don't identify with being a good student, then you don't care if you don't turn the work in. You don't care if you get zeros. And the bigger question is this. Elementary, if you give a kid a star, they're ecstatic. If they don't get a star, they're down because it means something to them. So what happened between the 5th grade and the 8th grade, by the time they get to high school, that they could care less. And research has shown that if you have a solid 8th grade education, reading, writing, and math, you can go to Harvard. You don't have to get educated in high school. If you have a solid foundation from 1st through 8th grade, it's nothing that you can't do on the high school level. The biggest reason kids struggle in high school is because they have holes in those foundations. And like someone said earlier, when you have holes in those foundations, and then they start pushing things out. So I would want to figure out how we can get the kids to identify with being a good student all the way through junior high and high school. And I think it'll make our jobs a lot easier in high school, and they would do a lot better.
They absolutely would. What are your thoughts on the future of education?
I think the future of education, and I use this term in my book, is mental maintenance when it comes to education. Everybody talk about mental health, but we need to have mental maintenance first. We don't want the car to break down before we take it to the shop. So I think a lot of terms that we use in education, kids don't really understand what they mean by saying an A student, a B student. The difference between an A student, the difference between a C student is 4 questions. That might have been 30 more minutes of studying. That's not no big gap. And I tell my kids all the time, when you make a 90, that just means you knew 90% of information. When you make a 76, that just means you knew 76% of information. It doesn't make you inadequate. So it's 2 terms that I think we need to redefine. Number one, what is smart? And in my lifetime, and I use this story about the 3 little pigs, right? In my lifetime, being smart is just working hard. Pig number 1 didn't want to work hard. Pig number 2 didn't want to work hard. Pig number 3 worked hard. Nobody said it was a difference between any of them besides one wanted to go play pool, one wanted to get in the pool, and the other one wanted to make his house out of bricks. So when it comes to education, we have to make the foundation. And then the last one is intelligence. If you ask a kid, what does the word intelligence mean? They're going to give you all these fancy details. Only thing intelligence means is this, that you understand. And when you understand, you have intelligence. So the journey as a student and the journey as a teacher is to teach understanding. But in order to get that understanding, and this is in my book again, another plug, you cannot talk when the teacher's talking. You have to take notes. You have to practice. And then watch this, you have to go teach somebody what you learned so you can reteach yourself. So we can get kids to understand in the future, being smart is just working hard. I don't care if you got a C. If you wouldn't have worked hard, you'd have got an F. So that's a plus. And understanding, and intelligence is understanding. Go on the journey to understand, and it's nothing that you cannot do in a classroom. Super phenom.
Woo! There's so much knowledge that was just dropped in the last couple minutes. Josh, go from here. I've got to sit and think about all this.
Hey, Chris, you got your book handy around there so you can show the audience?
No, I don't have it with me. I just ordered like 200 more, but they haven't came in.
Look at this face, bro. All right. So real quick Shane plug. You know the stocking stuffers are around the corner. I've been promoting these books like for 70 episodes because they're great. And I get no money. Trust me. I got nothing from this. I just think they're great books. Sean Kane, Fundamental 5. That's all I believe in. I bleed it. I walk it 100%. It's about engaging, bell-to-bell instruction, and caring about your kids. Woo! Right now, baby. 6-7. You better read this. Hey, you're tired of 6-7? The Stoics. Superintendent Glenn Robbins from New Jersey, wrote this book. The type of books that us educators like. You see that width right there? But it's the Stoics. Nice and calm during the storm. So when you have that cheerleading mom yelling at you, you got to read that book before you go to that meeting. There's a dark side of education. I've always talked about it, where people put barriers to promotions in education. And once you got that stain on you, it's hard to get rid of it. Well, Superintendent Glenn Robbins writes about that. There are tons of famous artists that were told you'll never be successful. You'll be amazed. You'll be amazed. There's some people in here that you're like, they were told that. This guy that probably you never heard about, Jimi Hendrix, was told he would never be successful. Go figure. a lot of people were told, you'll never be a principal. You got an issue with discipline? You're a first-year teacher? Right here. This cat makes it easy. He has displays for you. He tells you how to do it at the campus level, classroom level, district level. Kevin Curtis, great guy. You could invite him to your school, to your district, whatever it is. Awesome book. And 23 Stories by 23 Educators, Grow Your Why, with chapter 23 right here, written by this cat right here. And if you do not want to read, our voices are all recorded. We read it on Amazon, so you could get a hard copy. You could hear the audiobook of Grow Your Why. And effective yesterday, the second book that I'm featured in will be coming out. Tony Hinchcliffe will be, Robert Hinchcliffe will be there, and he's on episode 91, More Than Just a Principal. So that'll be coming around the corner. Towards the end of the show, guys, and you guys have tons of strategies. So Clemencia, just give the audience. Look, I just hired somebody. I just hired a brand new. I've had 2 vacancies, so we're like literally still hiring people. All right. So give one discipline strategy that you use in your classroom. One strategy you use in your classroom that has helped you out in the long run, and it's coming to all of you right now. One strategy.
Routines, classroom expectations. For example, giving out materials, assign students. They always want to be helping you assign students to give out materials or iPads. Routines, so expectations, so that activities in the classroom can transition easily with no issues.
Beautiful. Mr. Chris Wells, tell one strategy.
One of the strategies from the Fundamental 5 in my classroom, and once again, I'm in alternative now, but purposeful talk. I try to take 15 or 20 minutes every day to get a subject that's going on, because all they usually is doing they work, because then alternative is no talking alternative. But I try to have purposeful talk where we talk about events that's going on, and I also talk about my own personal events and share my stories of how I overcame things in my life with my group of kids, anywhere from 2 to 24, depending on how bad they're acting in that season.
Very true. Especially if you got EB students, you have to use FSGPT. You can't get frustrated. I'm sorry, soapbox. You can't get frustrated if they don't know English if you don't allow them to talk and use it. If you're the sage on the stage and you're the only one talking, only your dendrites are growing. The kid cannot learn their second language if they're not using it nonstop, class to class to class. And you cannot be, ay, pobrecito, I know, they don't know, I know, protect them, they only know Swahili. Shame on you. You're child blocking that kid. Make them work on their second language nonstop. Take it from 2 people that had to learn English. Take it from us, from other countries. You have to hold us accountable and practice it daily in each classroom. Senor Kenny, one strategy.
One strategy, accountability and routines, accountability in your classroom management, accountability. If kids know you are serious about your routines, you're serious about your classroom management, your rules, policies, and procedures, they will follow those, and you hold them accountable. They may not get it at home, but guess what? You're going to get that in Coach Davis's class, that's for sure. All right, accountability in your routines in your classroom management.
Always mean what you say and say what you mean, baby. Arcella.
I can just say ditto to mean what you say what you mean. Hold the kids accountable and give them a space to, I go around the building and I have the processes and procedures, but because the kids hear me and they see me, they know what those are. So it's easy for me to hold them accountable. You know me. I don't have one classroom. I have a whole school of students. And so saying what I mean and meaning what I say is something that I hold dear.
And folks, as we hand it over to the last question before we go into the lightning round, remember, that starts in July. That was my Chinchilagua moment. You can't let go and be the roller coaster. You can't be the cool cat and then the mean cat, the cool cat, then the mean one as an educator. You got to be consistent, because the second that you flake out, especially on this generation, they're going to kill you on social media. They're going to post about you all over, but then again, they will not keep that respect. And we got to be consistent. If you're fair across the board, you're not going to have those issues. And this, as us as administrators, this is what we don't like to hear. I've let this go for the last month. I haven't said one thing, but I had enough about him and her today. So you're telling me that he misbehaved or she misbehaved 15 times, and now that the kid is nuclear, you want me to defuse a nuclear reactor? That's not fair to anybody. Most importantly, that's not fair to the kid. That's not fair to the kid. And I'll give you one in reverse before I go to the last question. Hey, assistant principal. Hey, principal, if a teacher gets a kid out of your class, don't send them back that same period. Shame on you. Shame on you. You just lost street cred in the teacher's lounge. Keep the kid away for a while. Give everyone a quick timeout. Do not send that kid back, especially that class period, because you know who just won? 6-7. Andrea.
All right, guys, we're going to finish up today with one last statement that I want you to think about how you would like to finish. And that statement is, I want to tell all teachers across the USA what? All right, Kenny, I'm coming to you first. I want to tell all teachers across the USA.
We love you and we need you.
We absolutely do. Arcella, I want to tell all teachers across the USA.
What you bring to the table is impactful, so never stop.
I love it. Clemencia, I want to tell all teachers across the USA.
That there are people who love you, including your colleagues, even if they don't tell you.
Yes. Chris, I want to tell all teachers across the USA.
Embrace your chosen profession. Know a lot will be expected from you, from the administration, from kids, from parents. You know this, you're never the villain, you're never the hero, you are a good Samaritan, helping these young people on their educational journey.
Excelente. Josh.
And we're gonna finish it. Now, I gave you the questions to the test panel, and this is a lightning round. This is not War and Peace. We're not writing a PhD thesis. So if you see me getting closer to the camera, that means you're going too long with your answer, all right? Get the hint right there. You don't want to see these big cheeks coming close to you. So here we go. We're going to start off with you, super phenom. We're starting off with you, Mike Main, man. Yo quiero puras ganas, because this is called the PGP ganas. And we know one thing. Hispanics are not a monolith. We're totally different. People think that Hispanics were the same. No, we're not. A Puerto Riqueño does not talk like a Mexican. A Cuban does not talk like an El Salvadoreño. We're all different. Our languages are totally opposed, but there's one word, una palabra que nos une, ganas. You have that one grandma yelling at her daughter, échale ganas, mija. You got that one dad, and his son's about to do the free throw to win the game, con ganas, mijo. That is our monolith word. Other than that, trust me, we talk at different speeds. We use words that sometimes in other cultures are bad words. We're not, but one does unite us. So while one ganas, super phenom, that's exactly what I want, my man. Are you ready?
I'm born ready.
Give advice to a new teacher.
The advice is, remember why you got into a profession. Always remember your why. And if you want to make an impact, you cannot be afraid of a collision. Super phenom.
Read a note, an email, a text from a parent, a colleague, or student that inspired you with their words.
I just got this August the 24th, 2024. This guy graduated from Coro in 2018. His name is Matthew Carrillo. He's a football player. He said, thank you for the, that's what I said. He said, hey, coach, I don't know if you remember me, but I just want to say thank you for inspiring me even to this day. I love what you're doing with Super Phenom. I love you as a coach at Socorro. Best of luck in your future endeavors. Once again, thank you for believing in me when no one else did. I'm going to the Board of Patrol soon. Wish me luck. Thank you, Coach Wells.
Yes, so send some flowers to an active colleague who inspires you in your work.
That person, and I need to get your address. And true story, 3 months ago, I text Mr. Tovar and I thanked him for being the leader that he was for me as being a first-year teacher at Socorro. And really quick, right? People always talk about leadership, right? They talk about leadership in the front, in the back, in the middle. But leadership is a circle. It's all encompassed. It's from the top. And what I noticed and I learned from Mr. Tovar, that he was a leader of leaders. He would not ask you to do anything that he wasn't willing to do 10 times. Now, I'm gonna give you a perfect example, right? We had this thing called home visits, right? And we would go celebrate kids for doing better. And that doesn't mean they was all A's and B's. We'll celebrate a kid that had a 1.8 GPA, but he had a 1.2 the last semester. And he brought that joy because he said these kids have never been celebrated. So we're going to celebrate them because they improved. But one time I was in the coach's office and I was bragging like, yeah, I was with Tovar this Saturday and we did 42 home visits. We got the record, right? And the head coach at the time said, yeah, you did a good job. But remember this, Mr. Tovar go on every home visit, every weekend. And that kind of blew my mind because, yes, you know, you spend your time and you're doing these things and it's kind of tedious. And for him to do it every week, to set the example to the campus, he showed me what leadership looks like, all encompassed.
All right, I'm sending you $100 right now. All right, name one person in the audience. Name one person in the audience that the audience should follow on social media.
They should follow Pastor Davis. He's always given a good word. He's a great man. He served his country. He's a great father. He's a great coach. I learned a lot. I give him a hard time because we buddies. I talk to him. I talk to him more than any person on this planet except my wife. So that tells you what type of character he has. I have learned a lot from him. And he is a tremendous role model for young people to follow because he's a guy that believes in doing things the right way all the time.
Chris.
Yes.
I love you.
Yes.
Lightning round. My cheeks do not fit anymore, bro.
Okay.
Lightning round. No, but you're beautiful. Your words are very beautiful. What would your fantasy Christmas vacation be? Real quick.
Really quick. My fantasy Christmas vacation would be my grandkids, my wife, my children. They're kind of shaky, but have all my whole family on a Disney cruise would be my fantasy vacation, and my mother and my siblings.
Tell the audience about the one-hit wonder that you love.
Well, we're in teaching, right? So I always feel like somebody's watching me. Rockwell.
Which movie is better? National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, Home Alone 3, or It's a Wonderful Life?
It's a Wonderful Life because I truly believe in fate. I believe you're always going to be where you're supposed to be. Just make the most of your opportunity.
What's your favorite Christmas song? And who sings it?
Santa Claus is a Black Man. I don't know who sing that song.
And how can people get a hold of you?
You can get me on Twitter and Instagram, Superphenom06, on TikTok, Superphenom, on Facebook, Superphenom, and on YouTube, Superphenom.
Hey, Chris, write down the name of your book right there real quick so I could post it before we get off the show, all right?
Okay, sounds good.
Lightning round. Kenny, lightning round, all right? Chris killed me right there on that one, all right? But I love his words. Kenny, here we go. Give advice to a new teacher.
Work hard, don't take yourself too seriously, and be patient.
Read a note, an email, a text from a parent, a colleague, or student that inspired you with their words.
I'm going to read you a note my daughter sent me Wednesday. I know it doesn't seem like, but I do appreciate everything you have done for me. Sometimes I just need space, but nothing you do goes unnoticed despite all you have been my #1 fan. And sometimes it's hard to see that, but your dedication to support me and all I do is greatly appreciated.
Love it. Send some flowers to an active colleague who inspires you in your work.
Active colleague that inspires me in my work. I would say, man, there was a bunch of them I was going through my head. I would say that I really like uh, man, Vicky DeLoach has been pretty good for me. We spend a lot of time texting back and forth now that she's at YSD Central Office, but she works really hard and cares about kids, and she sends me a lot of different things and ideas to use for the kids. So I'd like to throw that out for her.
Name one person the audience should follow on social media
Prince-
that does what you do.
Principal Cafefe. I mean, I enjoyed him when you brought him to Socorro. I love that dude. I wish every school in the country could come see him.
What will be your fantasy Christmas vacation?
Had one about, oh man, it was a long time ago, but my brother and sister and my family, we all live in different states. And so we hadn't had a chance to everybody get back together and do one big family vacation. We're in Lake Tahoe, and that was about 7 years ago. So getting everybody back together again for one big Christmas again like that would be cool.
Tell the audience about that one-hit wonder that you love.
The one had Ice, Ice, baby. Too cold to go.
Which movie is better? National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, Home Alone 3, or It's a Wonderful Life?
It's a Wonderful Life, without a doubt.
What is your favorite Christmas song and who sings it?
This Christmas. Chris Brown.
All right. Let me copy you something real quick right here so I could put it. Arcella, you're next. You're next. I don't have a producer here. Here we go. Arcella, here we go. Give advice to a new teacher.
Create expectations and hold them dearly, and then create a classroom that's a culture that's family, and then breathe.
Read a note, an email, a text from a parent, a colleague, or student that inspired you with their words.
This is from a student. I don't know how much he inspired me, but okay, I'll say that. Okay. Thanks for helping me do the right thing. I love you, Mrs. Austri, every day. You come to my classroom. You never have to talk to me. Well, maybe sometimes. I still love you.
Love it. Send some flowers to an active colleague who inspires you in your work.
Jordy Sparks.
Name one person in the audience should follow on social media that does what you do.
Mr. Reed.
What would be your fantasy Christmas vacation?
Secluded island with fruits and things growing off the trees, waters, and just in a hammock chilling.
Tell the audience about the one-hit wonder.
Shanice Wilson. I love your smile.
Which movie is better, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, Home Alone 3, or It's a Wonderful Life?
Home Alone 3.
What is your favorite Christmas song and who sings it?
Johnny Gill, Give Love on Christmas.
How can the audience get a hold of you?
Arcella Austri on Facebook and Mrs. Austri on IG.
Hey, Kenny, did I ask you how people get a hold of you?
No, sir, you didn't. I Davis KL15. That's my Twitter handle, and Kenny.L.Davis01 Instagram.
Beautiful. Hold on. Chris is giving me a new thing to post real quick for the audience. Here we go. Just posted it. And Clemencia, ¿estás lista?
Sí.
Bien rápido, amiga. Bien rápido. Here we go. Give advice to a new teacher.
Okay, so the first one is find activities that you enjoy to distress so you can stay happy and healthy.
Read a note, an email, a text from a parent, a colleague, or student that inspired you with their words.
A student reached out to me last year and she said, I told her to say hi to her parents, and she said, of course, miss, I will. They still remember you. And I also told them I kept in touch with you. They admire you because you were always my great teacher and mentor.
Eso. Send some flowers to an active colleague who inspires you in your work.
My current assistant principal, Ms. Fernandez, very strong administrator, very knowledgeable, very kind and supportive.
Name one person the audience should follow on social media that does what you do.
Dave Burgess, he's the host of Dave Burgess Show. Great person.
The pirate, he'll be coming to MPA in January. What would be your fantasy Christmas vacation?
I like to go back to Mexico and visit my aunt Francisca. She's my mother's sister, and I would like to spend time with her cooking Mexican recipes.
Tell the audience about that one-hit wonder that you love.
I love the song Macarena by De Los Rios. I listen to it when I exercise or cook.
Which movie is better, National Lampoon's Vacation, Home Alone 3, or It's a Wonderful Life?
It's a Wonderful Life.
What is your favorite Christmas song, and who sings it?
Es Feliz Navidad by Jose Feliciano.
And how can people get a hold of you in New York City, the Big Apple?
They can follow me on X at Acevedo493.
Perfect. Thank you, panel. Thank you very much to our awesome co-host for being here today. I appreciate you. Did not seem like an hour and a half, but ultimately the knowledge is here. The knowledge is here from all parts of the United States, and we're hearing the same common theme because you know what? We're in education, the best profession out there, the profession that creates all the other professions, and we need you. This is free PD for every single last one of you. The Fantastic Four Network is for all of you, and it's free. We all know one thing. Wisconsin, you ain't got money. New York, you ain't got money. Texas, we ain't got money for education at all. But you know what? This is for free. Podcasts are for free. Edutopia is for free. Education Week is for free. All of this right here is for free, and it can only make you a better person because you know what? Iron sharpens iron, and we need to hold each other accountable, but we also need to lift each other up because you know what? Sometimes there are trying days, and sometimes there are beautiful days, as given the examples today. So we need you in this battle. We need you in this field always because you are a builder. Join us next week for the next episode, episode 85, where we're going to hand out Christmas gifts. Not actual physical gifts, Christmas gifts, but during the week I'll put out. I want you to recognize an administrator that helped you. I want to recognize a parent that helped you out, the custodian that helped you out. And Marty and I are going to go back and forth giving out names, but we want to hear from you, panel. Sometimes we forget to give the kudos. A lot of times because we get caught up in the noise. This is a time, the season of giving, the season of love and appreciation for each other and for your fellow man. We need you. Next episode, episode 85. Thank you, panel, for being here. Everybody, thank you very much for being here. Panel, say goodbye to everybody. Jefe, thank you. Principal JL, thank you very much. We'll see you. Like and share. Like and share. We love you. Goodbye.